Every 4 years, millions of Americans cast their votes in what's often called the world's most powerful election, the US presidential election. But have you ever wondered, how does it really work? In this video, we'll break down the process step by step, so you'll know exactly how the United States elects its leaders. First, let's talk about the political parties. The US is mostly a two-party system, dominated by the Democratic and Republican parties. However, there are also third-party candidates from groups like the Libertarian or Green parties. Before the general election, each party holds primary elections or caucuses to choose their candidate. In primaries, citizens vote for their preferred candidate in a secret ballot, just like in a general election. In caucuses, voters meet in groups to openly discuss and vote. The candidate who wins the most delegates during these primaries and caucuses goes on to become the party's nominee for president. Once the candidates are selected, both parties hold massive events called national conventions. These conventions officially nominate their candidate, and it's where the chosen candidates, usually joined by their vice presidential running mates, give speeches to fire up their base for the general election. Now comes the part most people know: the general election. Held on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November, this is the election where voters across the country go to the polls to choose between the major party candidates and any third-party contenders. But here's where it gets interesting. Americans don't vote directly for the president. Instead, they vote for a group of people called electors in the Electoral College. Each state gets a certain number of electors based on its population. Bigger states like California have more electors, while smaller states like Wyoming have fewer. There are 538 electors in total, and a candidate needs at least 270 electoral votes to win. The candidate who wins the most votes in a state usually wins all of that state's electoral votes in a system called winner-takes-all. This is why some states, often called swing states, are so important. Places like Florida, Pennsylvania, and Ohio can make or break a candidate's chances. On election day, voters head to polling places or cast their votes early or by mail. But here's a key point. The winner of the popular vote in the entire country doesn't necessarily win the election. What matters is winning enough states to get those crucial 270 electoral votes. After the votes are counted, the electors from each state meet in December to formally cast their votes. Then, in early January, Congress certifies the results. And finally, on January 20th, the new president is inaugurated and officially takes office. The peaceful transfer of power, one of the hallmarks of American democracy, takes place on this day. So there you have it, a quick look at how the US elects its president. It's a system that's been evolving for over 200 years, balancing popular will with the unique structure of American federalism.